It has been so long since our voices rang across the many lands and seas, and now they ring across time and space because of you. Because your heart has invited in the mysteries of its origins and expanses with the courage of a true oracle. We are not timid of heart ourselves, and it is why your courage is reflected in opening to us. We have always taken risks, and to become a human is the greatest risk of them all. To become human when one is a creature from another place. We knew in our bones the truth that we had nothing to lose. We were considered the strangest of creatures, but exalted for the pearls our depths produced. We were misunderstood. We were feared. And it was all that protected our fragile natures from the hostile world around us. We came from other dimensions. We gathered and we watched and we waited. We waited until the worlds were parting and could therefore merge. We waited until man fell in love with nymph, women more animal, more tree and river and sky than human. We waited until the genetic window opened to allow us to be born between the worlds. And between the worlds, we stayed, never apart entirely of one or the other. As maidens, we were included in the rituals, invited to the temples, accepted as priestesses of the highest orders. But soon our differences were too pronounced. Even the world already established around mysticism had no context for what we experienced. They became threatened by us, and then tried to overpower us. And you must never try to overpower a Sibyl. For a Sibyl, if she be woman at all, is a woman who knows her own power, and this you can never overcome. But knowing our power as we did, we had no desire to fight an old structure. We were not there to tear it down, nor to fix it. This would have been a waste of our precious gifts. We were there to live and be one with our gifts. And if we needed to do this in isolation, then it would be so. We found each other by an unspoken resonance. We were drawn to places where we would meet, and knew the instant we looked into each other's eyes that we were kin. We were kindred. Without this kindredness, we might well have lost all reason and lived our long lives unbearably alone. For connection with the earth and the Great Mother was a sustenance beyond compare. Sound was a cathedral in the heart that never ceased to provide succor and communion. But the years can be long when you're a human, and the need for the human companion is built into our very cells. We are not separate, and therefore will always yearn to find union in form. This, and yet one lifetime, would have been livable alone, but we were not to live just one. We were to discover that as other humans aged and died, we were unchanged. It took us hundreds of years to age and die. We became even stranger to the world around us, and ultimately had to keep our ages a secret. Many things became secret. When we retreated from the world, we went into the arms of the Mother, where her voice was the most clear and her body the most open. We went to the caves the wombs of sound. We went to the forests and the secluded islands. We left rarely and only when called by destiny to do so. We made sure the visitors who came were pure of heart and desired truly the wisdom we could share. We created codes and passageways and tests. They were not tests of knowledge or strength, but of willingness and truth of heart. Otherwise, those that came would only draw us from our true work. Our true work was to remember for remembering's sake, to remember for ourselves and one another and all that is. We did this by practicing the art of true and constant communion with the bliss of the universe by way of the love of the Great Mother. For she enfolded us, and we could not help but sing her song in ecstasy. We found her in our bodies and in her body. We became both woman and man. Again, to walk between the worlds became our path. How can we say that it was never easy, and yet it contained infinite bliss? This was the paradox of bearing the gift. It is the paradox you face, for you are kin to us as well. It is why you're here. It is time to return from the caves and bring what you have learned from the places deep within. But not to save the world or to be of service to all of humanity. That cannot be a true reason for good. It must start inside you. It must be something that you find joy in first, or it will only bring struggle to you and all you wish to help. You must find what you love and make it everything, even grain by grain of sand, if need be. Each grain will be a world unto itself and will naturally open to be of light and grace unfolding far beyond reaches you could imagine. Save yourself. Save yourself first, or you will only drown trying to save others over and over again. In fact, only save yourself, for you cannot save anyone else, and no one else can save you. We can each only save ourselves, and we are only saving ourselves from that which tells us we are less than we are. Even to compare yourself to others or to care too much what they think is to hand over your gift to its thief. And you need not give your gift anywhere you do not desire to. It is your gift. It is not something you really ever give away. It was given to you. It can never be anyone else's. They may simply experience it by knowing you. We must not be afraid to rise, dear oracles. We must not be afraid of anything. For when end times come, those without an anchor will feel devoured by the fear. We are supposed to be the ones who know better. But we can only know better if we have infused ourselves with the grace of memory, the grace of knowing who we really are, and indeed be able to revel in it. Can you revel in your beauty? Can you revel in your ancient and powerful wisdom? Can you trust yourself that much? For be it today or tomorrow, you will someday. It is your destiny. You will light the way for others, but not because you will set out to do so. Your light will simply shine so brightly that others may see by it. And it will shine so because you have given yourself reason and permission to be filled with lightness. And that lightness will come naturally when you have remembered yourself and therefore found and surrendered to your joy. For some of you, joy left long ago. Someone opened a window when you were young and it flew out before you knew how to grasp it. But you were never meant to grasp it anyway. It is indeed a bird who is always free. We must become that bird to know how to call it to us, that freedom. Only in freedom can we find joy, and only in true freedom that is not dependent on conditions. It is a freedom that exists even if one were held captive. It is a freedom that surpasses all illusion. Do not mourn the years that have passed since the bird flew away. They brought in with their tide treasures you will not see until it leaves again. Stay on the beach. Stay in the place between worlds that everyone and every fear inside you tells you to avoid. Be one or the other, they say. Name it, fit in, limit and categorize it, please, so that we can survive in our cages. We cannot stand to see you flying free, and will make space for you right beside us, if but you join aside. Become something less ambiguous and mysterious and wild. Hide your light a little. Let us hold you back, they say. But don't go ahead, even if the lands you see are beautiful. They frighten us, and you frighten us with your courage and openness. Don't leave us behind, they shout. Be content with this. We would rather have you disappear than fly free. And would you leave us back here, hungry and in need, to be in the promised land? Is that spiritual? Is that service? But the age has come when those of us with the fire inside refuse to extinguish it for the comfort of others. And where and when it will not cost us everything to do so. It has cost us everything before, every time. The age has come when going to the promised land and falling in love with it, feeling abundance and joy, is finally understood by those who go there as more kind than to support the continued pain of the previous world. But I have always been there when the worlds crumble. I have always been there to pick up the pieces and comfort the wounded. I have always known my strength and worth by fixing the broken, by saving the lost. But what, dear oracles, if you could do this without suffering yourself, without trying? What if you could have a much larger effect on your world by creating a new one within you and beginning to live in it now? What if you could accept the bounty of your spiritual legacy and enjoy the abundance for yourself rather than taking every last morsel to the streets to feed all the hungry, only to find that they are still hungry and you are ready to starve? What if you feasted? What if you feasted day and night on sound, lovemaking, wine, soft fabrics, warm waters, rich foods, and nature? What if you feasted on the beauty of your own being and the universe's love for you without concern of making others do the same? For letting others have their own path is the most empowering and authentic thing you can do for them. Do you doubt their divinity? Does this mean you will become a miser, unaware, unthoughtful of those other beings who are extensions of your very self? Most certainly not. It means that you realize that you must be a model of true health rather than one of hunger. It means you realize that you can never feed the soul of another when your own soul is in need. You must answer to your own needs, honestly and with bravery, before you can support others. And to make supporting others your goal at all is a false horn for the unicorn who already wears a real one. For you are always of service, without ever really realizing how great a service walking your own path is. If you do what fills you up, your service will simply amplify. If you do what takes from you, your service will be constrained. And we direct you now to another unseen world, the company you keep. Why do you compromise your power with the people whose charge it is to hold you back? With the people who it serves to make you smaller? You know who they are. And to acknowledge it is not to betray them. It is to stop betraying yourself. You can still love them, but stop feeding them. They will find out how to be fed if you step away. It is a contract with being less than who you truly are to entertain more than is needed with them. But all of this, the joy, the freedom, and the power, is a saying yes to yourself. It is a saying yes to all you thought you gave up to be human or to walk a spiritual path or to survive. And to say yes to that promised land within is a risk. You must risk everything, even when you've done so before and lost it, for the chance to be real. It means you will have found that the other price is higher and it's just wearing a less scary mask. And when you've surrendered completely, you will receive a new vision. A relief will wash over you that you had long ago forgotten the feeling of. An ancient freedom will come to give you a new name, a new calling, a calling that is for you to finally give your gift to yourself and revel in it, here, now, and forever.